you hear from Master 4. The truth is, the Master 4 was born a long time ago, inside of a company called Gotway. They were an outlier in a landscape of EUCs, where the primary focus had been practical entry-level machines with cute features like lights and speakers. You see, Gotway wanted to push the threshold of performance, and did so with each and every wheel they released. The M Super Pro, the EX, the RS, and then with the 50 mile per hour EXN. The RS and the EXN were both respectively offered in the high torque and high speed varietals. And that's where the Begode Master was born. While the high speed version sported the lighter, faster C30 motor, the high torque models would find themselves fitted with what would eventually be one of the most broadly applied motors ever, the C38 high torque motor. While the Gotway Begode EX was the company's first foray into suspension, it wouldn't be until the Begode Hero that we saw the linkage solution that Begode would come to rely on be integrated for the very first time. The Hero was launched in two iterations, a high speed and a high torque. While that would happen to be the suspension that Begode eventually came to lean on through revision after revision, the Hero would live and die in a singular iteration. The EXN, in its high-speed variant, was seen going 52 miles an hour by a rider named Gaganas that was based on a C30 motor, a motor known for speed and heat, overheating during intense use, making it challenging to implement for aggressive use. This would be the spirit of speed that the Master would come to imbue. The RS high torque would be the weapon of choice for dozens, if not hundreds of riders. Its power and ability to keep cool, literally, during intense periods of riding would set it apart from the high-speed variant of the RS. The hollow bore motor would make it ideal for jumping and taking intense impact without suffering broken axles, which opened the scope of exploration on the EUC dramatically. It's these elements that would come together and coalesce into one of the most fiercely heralded personal electronic vehicles on the planet. The Begode Master would be introduced by Coogee Rolls. Show Scott would push it to 56 miles per hour. The torque was sufficient to conquer every hill that Adam, wrong way, would throw at it. It was sleek and sexy. As far as wheels go, it seemed purpose-built for a new era of riding. We saw it go upstairs and take drops. We saw aftermarket companies clamor as the call was answered for performance upgrades to pick up where the engineers at Begode would stop, giving the suspension the dynamics it well deserved and the pads and armor to make it more durable. With its design, it would wear its core on its sleeve, batteries for the world to see. So Grizzla, Clark, and even the freshman barbecue would come up with armor. Kuba and Emma linkages would become the go-to name in performance suspension. We learned about Fox shocks and D&M burners. The Master did a lot for the EUC space in general. To this day, the Master tops more podiums than any other EUC. This wheel makes that wheel look like a practical joke. Clunky, unrefined, a series of ideas that were unpolished and waiting for a je ne sais quoi. The elements were all there, and to look at this EUC, you'd be hard-pressed to find the differences. The kickstand presents as far more rigid, wider, more sturdy. Beyond that, you wouldn't know. In the car world, they call this a sleeper. You see, this particular Master is version 4. I had the second generation. I've had the opportunity to observe such a generational step in one other instance. I owned a 1998 BMW 5 Series and eventually purchased a 2002 BMW 5 Series, and the 1998, well, it was a marvel to me. I had never driven a European car before, and nothing else compared to it. I was in love. The whole experience was new. I didn't mind that there wasn't traction control when it hit the occasional wet patch of road, or that the rear end shook loose during spirit acceleration. I didn't know the difference. Eventually, the traction control got the best of me, and I bounced the car off of a guardrail after doing a couple of 360s. Not on purpose. With the insurance money, I got a 2002 model of the same car. I was so impressed with the first one. Why not? The 530i had low-profile tires. It was Titan silver. It had an aggressive look. And without looking significantly different, just gave a performance air, and the ride was something special. The suspension had been refined. It clawed the road and seemed to ride on rails in the turns. Same make and model. 4 versions of difference. 4 years of difference. The Master 4 is the definitive sleeper, a precision gem in a landscape of wheels priced to the moon, and new technologies being tested on the users that purchase them. The sleeper, Master 4, well, it's scary fast. The sleeper has improved waterproofing, 50S batteries, and a controller to take advantage of them, with 36 MOSFETs pushing that 3,500 watt motor easily to speeds of 60 plus miles an hour. It uses the EX30 upper body, and the metal battery boxes make it incredibly solid. It feels refined. The Master 4 arrives in the nick of time, a bastion of standards. The first Master was tried and tested on track and trails. It arrived as Icarus, begging the rider closer and closer to the sun until they got scorched. Sadly, Andrew from Freshly Charged got burned when he fell during a high-speed run on the Master. This Prometheus, however, has brought us the fire, the very evolution of our way of moving. The power is refined, and though the firmware says test on it, this field-weakening magic has ushered into the Begode blood a certain refinement. The feeling that had been exclusive to Leaperkin, honestly. The progressive acceleration that seems to reset its baseline torque application at every speed in succession. This, ladies and gentlemen, is performance. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Begode Master 4.